Some of your favorite modern jailbreak cars weren't just created out of nothing. They were created with the ideas of the cars that came before them. We're talking about influence here. We're talking about the Theair. Added in 2020, the Theair was the natural follow-up to the Brulé, and a very welcome one at that. Modeled off the Bugatti Chiron, it was naturally slower than the classic Veyron we have for 2 years. However, we're talking about genuine influence here. In my eyes, the Chiron had a much greater influence than the Brulé. Sure, it was the game's first truly fast car, however that was naturally bound to happen, and back then you could argue that the OG Vault was better. The Chiron was the first experiment with interiors in Jailbreak's history. It was a first-person camera, and it spawned a trend with nearly every single Jailbreak car being released over the next few years having an interior. It influenced just not hypercars, but nearly every single car in the game. If you wanted to have your community submission added to Jailbreak, it would need to be brilliantly detailed on the inside. Speaking of community submissions, this is the Molten M12, a fiery vehicle that was added in a special stand in the volcano base during late 2020, hence the intro for this vehicle. What makes it special is the fact that this vehicle is Jailbreak's first community implemented vehicle. This basically opened up the gates for creators looking to submit cars and vehicle ideas for the future, and the Molten was sort of an experiment to see how it would do. Made by Rally Subby, this is probably the most influential in my opinion, and the best for Bedemo, as they don't have to put a lot of effort into making the cars themselves, and are better to rely on creators because of this. The Molten went limited, and now it's remembered pretty rarely, but I wish people would recognize it more for what it actually did in the game. The concept car, a true revolution for Jailbreak. I may be stretching this a bit, but as for influence, this car is the definition of aura. It has an entire showroom in the city, and the price of this car is $2.5 million, the most expensive in the entire game. It's the definition of Jailbreak luxury, hence why I've given it this beautiful hyper-green color. In terms of influence, it didn't really pave the way like the Theair and Molten more clearly did, but in this sense it spawned a generation of expensive cars and displays that appeared over the course of the next few years. The connection may seem loose, but before the concept, Jailbreak would shy away from adding more expensive fast cars and hypercars. However, after that we saw a significant growth. Cars like the Carbonara, Snake, Javelin, and others to come were added over the course of the next few years. The concept was the first one to start the trend, which is why I have it here. Anyways, that's my personal 3, but remember this is entirely subjective. You could have an entirely different list because a lot of this is just about my preference in general. You may love some other cars or vehicles what they did to start, and that's totally fine. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time.